My name is Colby, and I'm a member of the MVI Technical Services team. In this training video, I'll be introducing you to the MVI C21 suite of products. C21 is designed to help you work seamlessly with the Federal Reserve or your clearinghouse. C21 is comprised of four main pieces. They are C21 Forward, C21 Receive, C21 Return, and IRD Print. Let's take a quick look at the overall check flow process. Each day, your institution brings in checks from deposits. Meanwhile, credit unions and banks everywhere do the same. Every institution needs to get checks back to the institution that issued them, as well as receive checks posted against their own accounts. While each financial institution could exchange all these checks with other institutions on their own, most use third parties like the Federal Reserve or a clearinghouse to handle the exchange. At the end of each day, each institution sends all check images, which are from various institutions, to the Federal Reserve in an ICL file. The Federal Reserve then sorts through the checks and sends each institution an ICL file containing all checks issued against it. Institutions then post those checks to their accounts through their core data processor. The appropriate counts are debited, but any bad checks need to be returned to the institution where it was deposited. Each institution then sends an IRL file back to the Federal Reserve to inform the sending institution of bad checks. The Federal Reserve once again sorts and bundles the checks and returns them to the corresponding institutions. At this point, they are given back to the members or corrected and sent back to the Federal Reserve all over again in the next ICL. MVI's C21 suite aids in this process, simplifying the way each end of day is handled. To illustrate, let's follow the process for a single check. Robert, who is a member of MVI Credit Union, writes a check to Mary, who is a member of your credit union. Let's assume that both institutions are using MVI's C21 suite. Robert gives Mary the check, and Mary takes it to one of your branches for deposit. A teller will use C21 Forward to scan the check and save it in the Laserfish repository. At the end of the day, someone at your institution uses C21 Forward to retrieve all of the checks from throughout the day, including Mary's, and collects other metadata from Laserfish. C21 Forward compiles a forward ICL file with all of the checks to be sent to the Federal Reserve. Once the Federal Reserve receives this ICL file, it splits out all of the checks, sorts them, and sends them back to each issuing institution. The check Mary brought in from Robert is then sent via this ICL to MVI Credit Union, because that is the institution from which the check originated. Robert's credit union, MVI Credit Union, uses C21 Receive to archive all of the checks in the ICL file to their Laserfish repository. C21 Receive also creates a MICR file for the core system, so transactions can be posted to various accounts. If Robert's check to Mary has no issues, the process stops there. However, if there's a problem with Robert's check, the core reports it back to C21 Return through an imported MICR file. The problem check is collected into a Return ICL, or IRL file, and sent back to the Federal Reserve. Once again, the Federal Reserve sorts all returned checks according to institutions, and Robert's check is sent back to your credit union in an IRL file. C21 Receive processes this file similarly to the way the forward ICL is processed, and the information is archived. Each bad check is either reprinted through IRD Print, so a new physical copy exists, and returned to a member, or is reprocessed and sent once again through C21 Forward in the following day's ICL. The MVI C21 suite is designed to be modular, which is why there are multiple products in the suite. You can use Forward, Receive, Return, and/or IRD Print, depending on the needs of your institution. In summary, C21 Forward sends all of the checks deposited at your institution to the Federal Reserve. C21 Receive imports all the checks from the Federal Reserve that need to be drafted against accounts at your institution. Of those received checks, some may not clear. C21 Return sends those bad checks back to the Federal Reserve. C21 Receive is also able to import those return checks. Finally, IRD Print allows bad checks returned to your institution to be reprinted and either delivered to the member who wrote it or fixed and sent again to the Federal Reserve through C21 Forward.